I've played Wintertide brand many times over the years, and I decided to try it again because they added a bunch of damage over time nodes to the passive tree. And they also buffed the flat damage to Wintertide brand, which is very nice. So, what are we doing here? You can see we're running a 60% Delirious Memory Strand Originator influenced tier 16. I'm just showing Wintertide brand is interesting. You want duration, but it's just better to use Awakened Swift Affliction. And with Awakened Swift Affliction, it just cuts duration really badly. It didn't used to as much. It was nerfed at one point along the way. But it's still worth it because you get a lot of DOT. I'm going to keep going into the details as we go. I just wanted to show, hey, 60% Delirious Memory Strand tier 16. You know, which is like, they call it tier 16.5 because of the mods you get. They're sort of weakened down versions of tier 17 mods. The new patch kind of, you know, nerfed them a little bit. But they're still, you know, more challenging and more rewarding than a tier 16, no doubt. So, lots of breaches. I have a lot of breaches on my Atlas, so you'll see lots of breaches. But ultimately, what are you doing? You're casting the brands. You can. I have up to 5. You can have up to 7 if you want, but it's just a lot to maintain because they just expire. And you don't want 3, you want 5. Because you can have 3 attached to a single enemy at a time. And then we use the old Holy Conquest setup, which used to be a cluster node, that is now a mastery. So that the brands jump as enemies die to another enemy automatically, maintaining their stage, because with brands, stage is huge. Especially Wintertide brand, because you're not hitting, you can't crit, you're just attaching and applying a debuff, 3 of them at a time, and the debuffs gain stages based on the cast rate. And it's based on damage over time multiplier, damage over time increased, and then you get, with percent spell damage, you get that converted over to damage over time. So again, you're scaling things differently. You don't want flat damage on the weapon, of course, because that's attack based, but you don't want increased spell damage. Not as a percent, it's fine, because the skill converts it into damage over time. So percent increased spell damage, to be precise, turns into percent increased damage over time. We're going to run the formed. But you don't want, like, adds 20 to 200 cold damage to spells. It's okay because we use Cold Snap, but it's not good. It's just mediocre. It only helps Cold Snap with this setup. Now, in older setups, I've used Creeping Frost, which is also good, but it's a little slower. What's nice about Cold Snap, it's instant. And what's nice about Cold Snap with this particular setup is that we're applying all of our chill and freeze from the Cold Snap, and we took away our ailments from Wintertide brand. Typically, I've used Bone Chill and Hypothermia because it's very good with Wintertide brand for mob clear, but on bosses, it just doesn't quite hit the damage thresholds that we want. And so with this setup, it's much better because I've gotten more just single target DPS. Now, it's still not as good as like Flicker Strike. There's lots of builds that do more single target DPS. But because of the way this works, because I do so much energy shield recharge rate, and in particular like faster start of ES recharge rate, and then just energy shield recharge on kill from one of our flasks and from Brush with Death, we don't have to worry about leech, because you can't leech because you can't hit with this setup. What's nice about not hitting, by the way, is a side effect. You can actually run LE Reflect maps. Here, as you can see, we did Deathless the Formed with fully alked. Now, it's slower than some builds, but it's tanky. Not a glass cannon setup. If you don't like glass cannon builds, this is something to consider. As you can see, we have 10,000 energy shield. Lots of faster start of ES recharge. ES recharge is our bread and butter. And then, of course, we use Val Discipline, which is just way better than Wicked Ward. Wicked Ward compromises speed of recharge, so that it doesn't, like, you know, stop regenerating when you're hit. The downside being that we don't get Val Discipline all the time. There's probably a way to do that. I think there's a way to get this juiced up. I think there would be. Possibly, but it's just not necessarily worth it. There's a flask that helps your, like, Val Soul generation. Something to think about. Just something I'm thinking about as I'm looking here. So as the setup, as you can see, is the Cold Snap. We do want to apply that whenever we can. It has a cooldown because of the fact that it's not only applying an extra damage over time debuff, which is relatively small proportionally to the Wintertide brand, but it is more importantly applying the chill and the freeze. And now why does that matter? Because it's supported by Bone Chill. Enemies in that chilling aura take more cold damage based on chill effect. That does affect our Wintertide brand. So we're applying a certain amount of chill, and that certain amount of chill is not only helping the Cold Snap, but it's helping our Wintertide brand indirectly. And we also use a ton of auras. We have Haste, we have Zealotry, we have Malevolence. We don't use Hatred anymore. Hatred was very good because it used to give, you know, flat cold damage to attacks and then percent cold damage to spells. This build would have been sick with Hatred. This build would have been great. I mean, God, if they had kept Hatred the way it was. Nobody asked for Hatred to change either, by the way. GGG changed it anyway. And I'm still got hatred for the hatred change, you know, because it was unnecessary. But we can't use hatred because it doesn't help spells, especially spells that don't hit like this. No need for flat damage except flat damage on Wintertide brand itself. As you can see, the combination of Shaper here with Venerius got us because, of course, we're trying an Alkt Feared, because that's a real test of your build. Now, I had some bad RNG right there. Look at all that shenanigans. Because the Feared is one of the biggest challenges of the game, and I wanted to see, hey, can this build run the Feared? It already run, you know, gotten all the Void Stones. Plain Maven, Uber Elder, Stirring Etchark, Eater Worlds. No problem. What's nice about it, of course, it has some armor, and a big part of that is it has a little bit of armor from the gear that I'm going to go over at the end, but it also has armor from Determination. We have Determination, Haste, Malevolence, Zealotry, Discipline, Clarity. Used to have Vitality, we got rid of it, and we don't really do any flat ES recharge like Converted. We actually got rid of Zealot's Oath because we don't have like life regen. And in fact, I even got rid of, which might actually be hurting me slightly as I watch this footage, I got rid of one of the mastery nodes that gives 2% energy shield recharge per second. I think that'd be helpful. But we do use one of our ascendancies to get 100 energy shield per second. The regeneration is not a lot. We mostly just want, as quick as we can, faster start of energy shield recharge, which is not regeneration. That's when it recharges. We want it to start right away, and then we want it to heal up very quick. And then also just ES on kill, because we can't leech. No leech. But as you can see, it ran the Feared. And in fact, I've done Elder Slayers on this. I've done Twisted. I've done Formed, as you saw. I don't want to make the video 40 minutes long. Crown of the Inward Eye. Very important, because our ES and stuff gets converted to spell damage. And then we just have gloves and just gear generally that gives armor and energy shield. And I'm just going through it, but faster start is huge. This is where we put all of these auras, including Val Haste, which gives us even better cast rate, which is also not only throwing the brand, but it's activation per stage of the brand to build it up to that 20, because you get more damage per stage. And then, of course, like I say, the Bone Chill and Hypothermia go on the Cold Snap. Wintertide brand actually had much higher level because I used a replica, whatever it's called. Oh man, I can't think of it right now. Replica amulet that gives +3 to Wintertide brand. Got rid of it for the Impresence, as I'm going to show you. Now you have to make this wand yourself. It's not hard to do. You have to use an essence to guarantee the cast speed. You're rolling for, in this case, I rolled for tier 1. I just spent the money. And then you craft the rest. So the wand is not that hard to make. It's just expensive, because hitting tier 1 spell damage is very expensive. Everything has like res, everything has ES. We want to hit 10,000 ES. We have this, which gives DOT, and then less total mana cost while affected by Clarity. We do that on our rings too, so that we don't have any mana burn. And then we try to get our skill level up as much as we can. Of course, we don't have the replica, whatever it's called, Winterfang or something. Reservation Mastery. We have 7 auras, so yes, it is worth taking. 7 times 8 increased damage. The old Holy Conquest Arcane Capacitor is worth it. I took it off for a while. In fact, I ran the Adorned setup for a while. I spent a ton of money, and I did Voices, and I did the Adorned. And I got rid of it because it was horribly expensive. I could resell it. And this is actually marginally better. I had a Voices with 3 socket. Brush with Death combined with Cinder Swallow is what I was talking about with the ES on kill. Armor Flask, Damage Flask, +5 to max Fire Res Flask. Grand Design used to be so good. It's been nerfed, but it's still okay, but it used to be better. Brand Loyalty used to be 5% and Brand Attachment Range. Now it's 3%. And then this is these Reservation Mastery things. This is how we get so many auras. We get 7 auras. Plus the Amulet giving us 2 free Curse auras. Just really nice defensive shield, as I say. There's our 7 auras. And Replica Dragon Fang, by the way. It was called a Replica Dragon Fang for Wintertide brand. Gave me more damage, less defense. Here's the Merc, Soul Taker, because I thought, hey, physical damage can chill, lots of flat fizz. And then this needs to be replaced. But he's invincible. This guy cannot die to anything. I put all armor, res, and life. And I don't even think you need the res, but just armor, like this Bloodletter. And I grabbed him because he has Determination, which is mandatory. But look at all those supports. 5 on each of his main skills, Lacerate and Blade Storm. This is what I liked about this guy. And I level 83. He's invincible. This guy never, ever dies. And he's my Determination. Ho.